And I think we're live there with audio and everything. Awesome. Just confirm, please, out there in the chat that the audio is indeed working. That would be great. Welcome to the stream, everyone. For those of you who were hoping that it was going to be tomorrow, or maybe people who can't watch it now because it was supposed to be tomorrow, then I'm very sorry. It was just a big mess yesterday. And I apologize for that. I will be way more diligent in the future with making the streams happen on time and doing them when I'm actually saying that I'm gonna do them. So hopefully we can stick with that. And it'd also be great to do some streams in the weekend in the future, and because then more people can kind of join. On the weekdays it's a little bit more depending on your time zone and stuff like that. And I know we have people watching from all over the world typically, so hopefully that is it. But yeah, just let me know that the audio is working. Let me know that that you can see everything and stuff like that. But basically, the goal for the stream today is to make some planets. It's kind of a goal from the last stream, which was a little bit more chaotic, is to just have something to do that's a little bit more not simple, but just straightforward, right? Just something that I can get into. And the way it's going to work out is just I'm going to be doing some planets from my world that I'm doing, this world called Black Horizon. And thanks for letting me know the audio works. I appreciate it. World Black Horizon, and here's kind of like this map of the world. And as you can see, there is lots of planets to dig into, and maybe it's a little bit dark, so I could actually turn on some light right here. Where the hell is that light? There. Oof, that's very. There we go. There's a little bit of light. It's like, yeah, that's pretty good. So yeah, we got lots of planets here to dig into, and that could be super fun to explore some of these ones. And kind of what I'm thinking is that it could be fun to do this planet called Cordia, and this planet called Tomac, and maybe another one also. I don't know how many I'll get to do, but the stream will probably be running for like 2 hours or something, and then I'll take a little break in the middle around the 1 hour mark. And you're super welcome to ask questions along the way. The more questions, the better. I want to keep a healthy discussion and conversation going on as we're moving along, so I greatly appreciate that. But if you're also just kind of putting this on the side and just listening in, then that's also super okay. So about these plans though, Tomac is kind of interesting because it plays a central role in the story of Black Horizon, which I haven't talked a lot about at all, actually. Pretty much close to nothing, but the actual story of Tomac is important because where the main story of the world kicks off, Tomac is a little bit at the center of it, as in the story, kind of the Julian Empire is expanding into this region, but so are other forces like the Chorus Consortium and the Syrian territories, and they're all expanding in each their own way. The Julian Empire is very much more the kind of the Roman way, like military conquest, moving in with big armies and trying to just make them part of the empire. The Chorus Consortium is spreading their religion, and the Syrian territories are just napping up resources and trade agreements left and right and stuff like that. So they're all, conflicting here, but it's not quite hitting the military conflict yet, but the power dynamics are definitely shifting around. And Tomac is one of the central planets in the region that will be affected by these forces playing it. So it kind of plays a role in that sense. Tomac is let's see here. I just want to see if I can find this. So I have this little Miro board that also showed last. And this is just like all this information is not because we're going to be talking heaps and heaps and heaps about the world building and stuff, but I think it's just kind of setting the stage for what kind of planet we're going to be making. That also helps me get into the mood and the kind of the right ways of thinking about it. Tomac is is home to these kind of people. So they're not all this kind of more brutish looking people. They are just, this is the kind of the alien race or whatever. And I think I have another example of them also, which looks like just to find that on this other one. Excuse me. Races. No. Characters. There. Where's the character? There it is. Just gonna bring those over. Like this, basically. So these are also Tomakian, so they can also look a little bit like this. And this is the current ruler of Tomak. And Tomak is kind of somewhat in a state of civil war, where these two people are kind of ruling two halves of the planet, essentially, and they're fighting for control, where the king definitely has the majority of the control, but there's a rebel force who's a little bit more looking to get a democracy as opposed to having a somewhat of a supreme ruler. They are both raiders and pirates and these things, so they have a lot of tie-ins to pirates and such nonsense. But this person down here is definitely a little bit more, has a genuine love for their planet and wants his people to be more free. Where the king here is definitely like, through some clever negotiation and some networking, he now has control of his home planet. And yeah, so Tomak, this planet Tomak, as we're looking at over here, it's definitely at the center of attention in the story. So it's an interesting planet in that sense. Other than that, on Tomak, because I don't actually know that much about the planet. I have a vague idea of what kind of planet it could be, but there's also I know that this animal lives there. So this is a Tomaki stockhound. So that lives on the planet somewhere, and it's red. So that's kind of what we have to go on. This, and this, and then these guys here, right? So and I'm thinking that the planet is kind of something along the lines of more deserty, but with a little bit of plant growth and stuff like that. So let's see how that goes. There's a question there. So from Zach here, so glad to catch you live, and I love this map. Was that just Photoshop, or did you use specific software? So for the map, that was definitely just Photoshop. Yeah, it's just Photoshop. But except for the galaxy, actually, the galaxy was made in 3D. I can open that a little bit later if that's interesting, like looking at the galaxy file. But I totally just followed a tutorial on YouTube for doing this galaxy. But it's kind of nice. It has all these little swirls and stuff that just makes it feel a little bit more like that. And I haven't seen that many like great galaxy maps, to be frank. Most of them tend to, I think it's just because it's a lot of work to create a galaxy of your own, because you kind of have to know 3D and play around with that, and then mixing it with the whole map making thing. I haven't seen, it was kind of hard finding good references for doing it, but I think this ended up becoming somewhat nice, and I'm looking forward to build on this map specifically. So yeah, so that's Tomak. Let's get rolling. So the way I'm going to do it is that I'm going to start completely from scratch. As some of you might know, I do have a planet tutorial on YouTube. It's the first one I put up on this channel. So it's a little bit fun to come back to that, and I've been doing lots of planets since then. And the technique is kind of the same, except for I take a few shortcuts here and there, but I'm going to be doing everything from scratch, and you can just follow along if you want to do that. I'm not going to be explaining everything I do, but I might explain some of the stuff, kind of casually talking over it. Otherwise, you just ask in the chat, right? Okay, let's open Blender here. We're gonna start there. So we have to make this Tamaki planet, and let's see. We're gonna start with creating the planet's surface itself. So it's just gonna be a sphere, and I think I'm actually should I create an icosphere? No, I'm gonna create a UV sphere, and then I'm gonna set up the resolution to something like 128 on that one and 64 on that one. Then we get these nice, and that's pretty good. That's good for now, at least. Then we're gonna be jumping into having access to the shader editor right there. I'm gonna say new material. Just gonna call it planet matte. Typically planet, when I make planets, I make them out of 3 components. So you got the surface, you got kind of the atmosphere, and then you got the clouds. And everything's gonna be rendered in cycles in Blender. I'm not really gonna be making it so that it works in Eevee. This is gonna be cycles, because that's how I render everything right now. And yeah, but it would maybe also be fun to do some kind of moons for things like this. And we can also do some other things like creating kind of these accretion disks and stuff like that. That could be, we could do that on one of the planets. That would be pretty fun. But I think Tamaki is a little bit more desolate. So how are we gonna start with this planet? So we could just start doing all kinds of noises and blending those together and spending a long time getting that to work. But I think I'm actually gonna be using a newer technique, which is kind of the shortcut I was just mentioning before. And that involves basically finding some kind of satellite picture of some environment somewhere. So I'm gonna go to Pixabay maybe first and just look for some pictures. Pixabay, if you don't know, is just like a free open license place where you can get images to use for anything basically. Wonder if there's satellite. Maybe it's just gonna, yeah, it's just gonna, but you could get stuff like this and stuff like this, and that actually, you know, this is kind of what I imagined almost for the level of, like basically like Australia level of like green to desert. Maybe I can get this in a big thing. Let's try this. Yeah, I can get this in a pretty big 5000 by 4290. So I'm just gonna get that. Yep. And then we got that here. So that's awesome. Then I can drag that into right here and it becomes an image texture. Then I can jump over to the material editor there. And then we can just plug this into the base color. Just gotta make sure I have my stream here on the left. There we go, there it is. Awesome. Okay, and then already here we kind of got something, you know, because of the way the UVs are on this thing, then you know they go towards the poles, but that's probably not the kind of UVs we want. We want to use a different kind of UVs. Let's see what we can work with it. Let's play around a little bit. I think making planets is a lot of playing around. So I just press Control T there. Then you get these a texture coordinate set up automatically for an image texture. If you didn't know, then now you know. UV, maybe let's try objects. Let's see what we get from there. And we get this horrendous thing. How do I generate it? Generate, we get this duality here. could also try doing UVs and then messing with the UVs a little bit, because I kind of like what we kind of have here. So let's see here. Then we got the UVs there. So the UVs are pretty much like that. Then I'm just gonna turn off this so I can just see kind of like that. And you see we get that split there, right? That's kind of the one thing that I'm not really a big fan of. What if we set this to box and we blend it? That's gonna give us fuck all. Oh, sorry, I'm not allowed to swear on the stream. Nope. Nope, let's just do flat. And then let's just mess around with this a little bit until I get the right kind of ratio of stuff. I know we got that lined seam there, but we're gonna deal with it in a way. I'm just looking around. So I kind of like that we have that big planet like this, and then the little patches of green and gray, and very quickly you get something that is kind of interesting. Let's see here. Yes, that's right. Could make the UVs a little bit easier if you have a cube instead, like a subdivided cube. I could try that actually. I'll do that for the next one for sure. That's a good thing. I have done that a few times with something specifically. Right now I'm just experimenting, so I'm not looking for a specific need for the UVs. I'm just seeing what's happening with the shapes across the thing. Because what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna blend this by hopefully messing with the vector here. So the way that that's gonna happen is that I'm gonna take this here and make it a multiply, I think, like this, and then this is all gonna be multiplied by 1. Then we're gonna take a noise texture and say math multiply like this. I'm gonna put that in there. There's lots of ways of doing this. Typically with the mix RGB, it's even easier. You kind of get this kind of no, that's not gonna work actually. No, you know what? I'm gonna use the mix RGB instead. Yeah, or actually this one, the mix like this. Yeah, because then I can get the value of it. And then so here you can see we get a little bit more of that with everything swirling around. Is that a math node? This one is a mix node, and this is a math node. Let's see here. What are we getting here? Then I can increase the scale and maybe the roughness a little bit, and the detail for sure. Then we kind of get these natural transitions, maintaining pretty good colors. Then I just want to deal with that line. Let's see, what could be a fun way of dealing with that line? Because I don't want to destroy what I got going on right now too much. So maybe we should do some... Actually, we could try doing some texture painting on top of this. Let's see if that would be possible. If I go to texture painting, then I just clone somewhere. How do you actually clone? Do you do it like that? Oh, what's happening there? How do you... it control to clone? Okay, maybe it's offsetting right now. Don't hide the line, embrace the line. Yeah. No, I want this to work, even if it's gonna be me failing for a long time. I'd rather fail and do it the stupid way than surrender to the line. So something is happening there. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Let's do that. Okay, but maybe I can do it over here instead. So we're gonna, how do I do that? I'm gonna go to texture painting. Image editor there. And paint. Then here we can say, let me do, why is it not letting me clone? Why can't I clone? That's not a bug, it's a feature. Is the clone tool broken, or am I just an idiot? Don't answer rude. I mean, you can answer as rude as you want. That's also fine. Clone tool Blender. You see, there's always something new to not working. Yeah, that's exactly what it's. Clone brush not working for me. This what? But I can paint on it just fine. I mean, what about liquify? Or blur, it's called. And smudge also works. But clone tool doesn't work. Oof, that's annoying. I do really like what's going on here right now with these colors, especially around there. Let's think of the possible world building you could do around it. Maybe a religious that worships its geometric beauty, or a city. I mean, okay, so we're going to be building Cordia after this one, right? And Cordia is the closest thing in Black Horizon to something like Coruscant in Star Wars. It doesn't have the same. It used to have the same kind of function, that being like a central hub for kind of the greater Galactic Alliance, which doesn't exist anymore. But it's a little. It's like a metropolis planet, right? It's not at the same level where there's 1,000 levels across the planet somewhere, but it's gonna have a lot of city stuff. So maybe we can do some crazy lines on that one. That would be pretty fun. Maybe I should put chat over here instead. Then if I'm looking at chat, then I'm kind of looking at the camera. Maybe that's good. Okay, come on planet, come on planet. Also, with music, I was thinking a little bit about it. How many of you, and please answer, how many of you listen to music while you're watching this? Like you're just kind of putting on some music and then you're having this run at the same time. Because I was last time like, oh, maybe I should put music on. But then it's annoying if you're the kind of person who puts music on, you know, like on to next to you. So maybe it's better to just not have music. I'm all open for ideas. Okay, so that's doing that. So what if I just put this directly into this? Will this make it easier to? Okay, this will actually make it easier. It was because the displacement there. Take that piece there and put it Let's see here, there. I'm not too worried about it being mega ugly, because we are going to be distorting it up with the... that doesn't work. We're going to be distorting it with the little noise mixing we were doing down here. So hopefully that's... Maybe I can do something like this, where I then cut in kind of harshly with the brush like this. Create a little bit of natural. It is really fun though, mixing the kind of proceduralness with hand painted stuff. It's cool, like that. Let's see, where else do we have the line really making it not work? So there, that little, a little bit. It's definitely still quite obnoxious, that line there. Maybe it's just better like this without the distortion, because it almost kind of works like this, except for the top. But we're gonna do something with the top anyways. I'm gonna do a little bit of pole stuff. Let's try bringing this in again, and then we'll do just a little bit of... How much smooshing do I have to do? Okay, so that's really what's going on there. What if I push this a little bit? Let me just get... This becomes worse. What about scaling it a little bit? Maybe it just works like this. Like, that's so lazy. Let's roll with this, actually. I'm looking at it and I'm kind of, liking it, but maybe I can morph it a little bit. If I kind of just get to expand some stuff a little bit here. Like this. Something like that. Something like that. And then maybe I can get something over here. No. That can be a little bit, I don't want it to be too much water, but I'm gonna be adjusting that a little bit with the... Yeah. It has some cool angles, I kinda like that. And we can also adjust the planet like this kind of stuff. It's all about making that good shot for the planet, and I also feel like that's an art form in itself. It's kind of like what angle for the planet best suggests what kind of planet it is, right? With Earth, it's kind of interesting, like, because if you shot the Earth directly from the top, right, you would just see the poles, and you might be like, oh, what kind of planet is that? It doesn't really suggest what kind of planet Earth really is. And even though you have a completely big desert planet, then maybe there's some area that could just kind of hint. So I feel like a good angle from Earth is the one that balances out all the different traits that Earth has, right? And then that's a good angle, right? And so for example, this planet from this angle really tells the wrong story, right? It's because the half of it is like this, so something like this or something like this or something. That's way closer to what the planet is about. And that's also, I'm definitely looking for that as I'm like making the planet. Like, okay, what is a cool angle? I kind of like what's going on here. Let's actually, this was completely unnecessary, so we'll just get rid of that for now. And maybe we can create some stuff based on this map here. So let's bring it up. There's also some questions that's here. I'd never say no to some smooth jazz in the background. Both is fine for me if you play music or not. I'm playing Re8 while watching, so I don't really care either way. What the hell is Re8? Am I stupid? What is Re8? Oh, Resident Evil. Alright, okay, yeah, okay, of course. Yeah. Don't really mind, to be honest. I'm a huge music nerd, but I can't say I love music in live streams, though I do agree with the jazz. Well, if you're gonna leave the stream because of what I'm about to say, then that's also fine. I'm not really a jazz person. I kind of find it annoying. Yeah, if I see the subscribers just dip to 0 now, then I'll take that loss. It's I can handle it. How about using 2 images maps and mixing them together? I was thinking about that. I'll do that for the next one. I'm gonna go a little bit more crazy. This is kind of the warm up. Photoshopping in Blender. What? Unicorn Tamer just writing photoshopping in Blender. Oh, as in that's what I'm doing. Yes, that's what's happening. I'm kind of mega warm. Are you guys warm? I'm gonna take my little fan over here and blast it into my back. And can you guys hear that fan? Is it? Just let me know, because I can always open the window. What's that mustache, you Mexican VFX boss? Oh, I don't know. I've just had it for a long time, and it's kind of the thing where the mustache will naturally swirl itself up on one side. Like, I don't use wax or anything in my mustache. I don't have that kind of time in my life. The mustache will naturally swirl up on one side, but then naturally swirl down on the other one. So I just kind of it you know, I just make it go up there. And I don't know, I've just had the mustache for a while, and I guess it's a feature, you know. You definitely get commented on. Even I don't have a very nice, like, the mustache. I think, okay, for not taking care of my mustache, I think it's okay. It's decent. But it's still good enough that I get comments on it, and people are like, "That's a great mustache." I'm like, "Thank you." It's growing on my face, you know. That's what's happening with it, basically. I do cut it sometimes, and yeah, that's what's going on. So, you know. Okay, let's get back to this planet thing here. We are gonna let me know about the fan, guys, if it's if you can hear it in the thing. Otherwise, it's all good. Get some water here. Thank you. Some. Oh, all the mustache love out there is just. You barely hear it. Okay, but you hear it. I'll. The microphone is also kind of directed away from it, so maybe if I put it like there or something. Oh, it grew on me. That's a good pun. That's pretty good. Okay. I'll shut the fan off in 20 minutes or something. I just need the breather. So we got this planet now. And we're gonna play a little bit with the color. So I'm just gonna take a hue saturation. So with these things, I always start with the simplest adjustment tool that I have, which is the hue saturation thing. Just like to see if that takes me in any kind of direction. And then if I'm seeing something like, oh, maybe this direction could be cool, then I start diving in with maybe an RGB curves or some other specific thing, just to to get that. Okay, let's see here. Let's try hue. Ooh. No. Yellow is kind of interesting. I feel like I never go for yellow. Red is just very stereotypical. Like, oh, it's like, oh, it does have a. I'm a sucker for red and green. It's like one of those color contrasts that I just always loved, because it's so underutilized. I think it's so. Yeah, I think people think it's too Christmassy, but I really like it. This does look kind of interesting, but I do kind of like the yellow. I specifically like this kind of yellow right there. That it has a slightly sickly color, and the world is, this specific planet is sickly with the story. I'm doing great, Rojani Othina. Thanks for asking. I hope you're doing awesome. I kind of dig this yellow, but then the water is turning a little bit too not the kind of color I want. So that is good. Let's just play with the saturation a little bit. Ooh. I do like that some of the areas are a little bit more desaturated, so we're gonna play with that. Okay, I want to create a mask, so I want to separate out this stuff here from the other thing. I think I'm just gonna keep that there for reference. I'm gonna grab a ramp node and use that to separate everything out. So let's try getting a mask for the water somehow. So we got that there. That feels somewhat appropriate, I would say. Let's see. Yep. That's pretty good, I think. So we got that mask. So now I can separate that water out and get that to hopefully be a different color. So I'm gonna use that there. Then I'm gonna see here. It's gonna be mix, color mix there, and then this is gonna be the mixer for those things, and then this one's gonna go straight in there. Yep, that look. Oh, it's going to the hue. There we go. Is it becoming yellow? No, it's because it needs to be flipped. Yeah, there we go. So that's that kind of yellow there. And then the water maybe can get its own hue shift here. I kind of want this more turquoise color. Yeah. Oh, I do like the bit more desaturated look maybe. And then the water's kind of popping out and the greens are, that's kind of a cool green. I do like that. Maybe that's hard. Yeah, maybe a little bit more warmth there. What is people saying here? Tax evasion tips. Let's see here. You're going to make a weather clouds or something so you can cover up some imperfections that way. Oh yes, I will be doing a clouds layer for sure, using a volume, and there'll also be an atmosphere. So there'll be plenty of stuff to obscure some of the imperfections, 100%. But yeah, I'll be getting to that. What's your second best tax evasion tip? Okay, we're here for the. It's too early for the tax evasion tips. We'll save that one for later. It's already been 40 minutes. Oh my god! I wanted to make 2 planets and I barely made 1. Damn. Okay, guys, people in the chat, let me know what you guys all do. What are you all doing right? I mean, some of you are playing games. Where are you guys from? Where are you guys from? Where are you from in the world? It's always great to know. Red water. I'll just try red water. It could definitely look awesome, but it's not what I imagined. Ooh, it's also kind of interesting. Like a blood red water. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I think maybe this is kind of what. We can just look at the value here. A value shift. Yeah, it's something along those lines. Yeah, this is pretty good. Kind of liking that. Then I do want some variation in the saturation though. So we are gonna get a. Oh, that's gonna be hard actually, because I want some. Maybe I can get this one here. Because saturation is set to 1, so I just need some stuff to be white. So you need most stuff to be white, maybe, or maybe I wanna flip it actually. So we get this kind of a feeling, and then I can do it like this. Then I can plop this into the saturation. Like that. And then, okay, let me just play with this here. Yeah, because then we're getting a little bit of that desaturation that I was kind of hoping for. Yeah, then we're getting these big wastes, and then we got some nice desaturation next to some more kind of warm colors. I remember this was Australia, and now it's a planet. You're getting all this stuff for free. Yeah, I'm digging this for sure. We got this nice belt here of color in that sense. Maybe we should do some pole stuff. I mean, they don't look too bad right now as poles. Maybe we could add them to the. What happens if we value them up? No. Okay, I think I'm gonna grab a gradient texture, and then Greece, awesome. Unicorn Tamer Greece, awesome. Playing some online Yu-Gi-Oh, my man. And from Middle East, awesome. Middle East is broadly speaking. Where are you from? From India, Vermont in the U.S. for me. Vermont, nice. Utah, USA. Jokes aside, just want to say that your tutorials have been very helpful for my kids to get into Blender. I love it. That's great. That's awesome. I'm happy to hear. What is this plan supposed to be? So I talked a little bit about what the plan is supposed to be earlier in the stream, kind of in the beginning, so you can go back there and then you can check up with that. You thought we were going to do landscapes? No, I'm literally making planets. Yeah. No, I'll be doing we'll do a planet some other time or do a landscape some other time in the future. Right now we're doing planets. Okay. Is it because the planet is rotated? It is because the planet is rotated. Rotation and scale. Like that, yeah. Then the planet should be back to normal. Yep, like that. Then we're gonna create a pole here. We're gonna rotate this. So it's gonna be one of these can rotate it like that maybe. Yeah, so we got that there, cool. Then we can do this there, then we can mess with the this stuff here by getting a mix, like so. They're getting a noise texture, putting that in there. Then you get this kind of a thing, which is exactly what I was looking for. Now I just want it on both sides, and the way we're gonna do that is we're gonna be translating this. Let's see here if we get what we get. I'm actually kind of bad at figuring these things out. Always been a little bit bad at exactly divvying these things up, like how to get that kind of stuff. I usually just kind of wing it. So I'm gonna subtract. Maybe I'll do that instead. No, that doesn't make sense because we got that, and then we can scale it. So that's scaling it there. Something along those lines. And then one. Yeah, actually that seems to work. So see where that's put it there. And then maybe 0.5 here. Yeah, there we go. Then it's it should be scaled. Then we can do that. Let's see what we got here. It could be interesting if one of the poles was always facing the sun, so it was super hot, and the other was always in the dark. Probably not this planet, but not. That's a good idea. I like that. Where am I from? I am from. I'll show you this. Maybe some people in chat know where I'm from, because usually, so it's actually a game. I remember when going to university, then we had a lot of international teachers, and they would always ask where I'm from, and I said take a guess, and they couldn't guess. I do have a slight accent, but they could never guess because they don't look like I'm from where I'm actually from. Oh, I see. Schulz division, totally know where it's happening. But yeah, I'm from Denmark, in Northern Europe. That's where I'm from, and I'm in the capital of Copenhagen. Looking out the window, and it's the sun is kind of going down, so that's the status. No, I have not played Nier Automata. It's not really my kind of thing, but I've heard great things. I definitely have some friends who've played it, and they say it's pretty dope. I mean, I do actually have a lot of time, but I just never get to play the. I never get to play games, but I will play Starfield. I think that's maybe the next thing I'm gonna play. Other than that, I'm just playing Deep Rock Galactic once in a while, or Rocket League. There's lots of things I really want to play. I choose work over play, not because I'm like, oh, you have to work. It's just that's just my default. It's just to work. So yeah, that's kind of the haps. Oh, value full. Nice. Let's get a black thing going on here. Nice. And then we pull up the factor here for that. Oh, what's going on here? There we go. And now we got those poles. And we are gonna smack the planet with those poles. How are we gonna do that actually? We are gonna hit the colors here, and we're gonna brighten them. So we're probably gonna do this. Then we're gonna bring this in here. Boink. Then we're gonna look at that. Then we're getting that there, but I'm gonna set this to maybe something like soft light. Is that doing anything? Okay, that's almost doing nothing. Let's set it to screen. I don't like that. Overlay maybe overlay. Maybe overlay is good. It's doing nothing. How high I can take this up. No, that's not good at all. Let's try. We could try something like saturation. Yeah, I kind of like that. That's kind of what I was thinking, that we have this desaturated area. Yeah, I actually, that's exactly what I want. Yeah, then maybe it could be a little bit bigger. There. I don't like that it goes into the water that much. So maybe we can get this water mask and multiply it by this mask here. So we say math, and we say multiply by the water mask. Yeah, that's better. Then it doesn't affect this area as much. Cool. It's great. Oh, what's happening here? You could recognize because the slight accent. Schulstevik. Are you also Danish? Is that how it is? Or are you like somewhere else? Hey, Starfield. Yo, if you have some time, Nier has great content. Yes, I bet it does. Damn, this is like the chat is hard for my neck. Maybe I can use the OBS window for chat. Maybe that's better. Maybe that's better. Like the world building of Nier, cool. Yokotaro is another level. Nice. Yep, and the different endings are amazing. Okay, so people just discussing Nier. The character from so Slim, yeah, so the character from the last thing, I could complete that. I will not be completing it during this stream. This will just be focusing on doing these planets, but I'm thinking the next time I want to do a character. I might not be doing that specific character. I'll be doing a character from scratch, and I'll just be focusing on doing one character and talking about that. But I'll reiterate on the thought process. So if you have time to join that the next time, that'll probably be Thursday next week. Yeah. So, but it'll be reiterating some of the stuff that I was talking about last time. And it's super fun to do. So definitely. And if you can't watch it live on Thursday, whatever, then you can always rewatch, unless you want to ask some questions while doing it. But I'll definitely be doing character. I'll probably be doing multiple characters over as we go along, doing more streams hopefully. That because they're super fun to do, and I do lots of them. And I gotta say, I do them fast. I'm pretty fast with characters now. Like I've been doing them a lot, and I do them quite fast. I actually been doing this. This is gonna be a sidestep from the planets. I promise. I'll get back. Okay, Phoenix Bowers, thanks for joining. See you later. I actually been doing this character. I haven't really posted them anywhere yet, but I will post them at some point. It was a little project I was doing with some friends. Not more like practice, but basically we were doing all the kind of like the Norse gods, but within like a time limit, and just like interpreting, and so it was a random one. I think there was 12 we're doing, and technically we didn't finish, but I think the first one was Tyr, so the god of war. Then I think it was it Bragi, maybe that was next. Yeah, so Bragi, he's like the singing guy, and then I think it was Hel. And just for reference, I got faster and faster. I was doing it as I was like warming up. I think this guy took me 4 hours to do, and this guy took me like an hour and 20 minutes or something to do. And I kind of got faster and faster as time went on. And yeah, and super fun to do these ones. And I actually have all of them kind of recorded. So I think which one is this one actually? That might be a little bit interesting. Yeah, so you have the process for this guy doing it. And I was going to release them at some point, showing the entire process. And I have all of them recorded, actually. It's kind of fun to see. What is happening? Okay, nothing is happening there. Why is that recorded? Yeah, and here we have Balder, or Balder, or however you want to pronounce it, doing that. So, so I definitely enjoy doing characters. It's there's a lot of stuff about, like, I think something I practiced a lot is doing characters, like designing them fast, and then kind of making fast design decisions. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make this character, and then you know, how do you if you only have an hour to make something, how do you make good fast decisions that gives you a good result? At the end of the day, like, you shouldn't put a time on, like, making a good character. Like, you should just let it take the time that it takes. But it can be an advantage, especially if you're working with a client, or if you're working with a deadline or something. Then what kind of techniques to rely on to make good design decisions, and that's something that I've practiced a lot, and it's a really fun topic. So I want to get back to that. Whoever's interested in that, I think the next time I'll be doing characters. So we'll talk a little bit about like brainstorming a character, and then maybe drawing the character or something like that. Okay, it's 20:57 now for me, so I'm gonna take a 5-minute break, and then I'll be back, and it'll be exactly 5 minutes. So I'm gonna switch over to the break sign now. And we're back. Yay. So, cool. Nice. And stuff like that. So that's great. I'll just give people 1 second to catch up to the stream. I feel like the stream is going a lot more smoothly than last time, except for the major blunder yesterday where everything just cocked up. So yeah. But I think focusing on this planet, even though time is happening like this, that's making the stream a little bit more tangible. I'm hoping you guys will be the judge of that. Maybe it's awful and you like the chaos before. I constantly want to read the chat because that's just fun to look into. But I also want to show something interesting on the screen. We'll be joining the stream Thursday. Also been really enjoying the spaceships from your Black Horizon series. Really been struggling with hard surface designs. Would love to see your process for those. Yeah, I mean that would be super cool to do a space. I actually, obviously my tutorials have I've done less and less of them in comparison to what used to be, and that's also because I'm shifting more and more into doing my own projects. And although I love doing tutorials, and the reason why many of you guys are here, I'm trying to move in a slightly different direction. There might be a tutorial from time to time. I think the streams is a really good way of exploring how to do stuff without it being a huge workload on me, because it does take a lot of time and effort to make the tutorials, especially at the quality that I want to make them at, etc. But spaceships is the one thing that I've been considering maybe do a video on, a tutorial, but I think I'm gonna do it as a stream first, and that would be great because I also find it really difficult doing hard surface stuff, and I've been practicing for a while, and I think hard surface is the kind of thing where you either need the really good tools for it, or you need to plan really well on what you want to make, or you gotta be okay with a certain level of jank. Guess which one I am? Number 3. I'm definitely okay with some jank, but there are some tricks for sure to get stuff looking more like what you want. So that's gonna be on the list. Doing spaceships, I'm very excited about that. I'm super excited about that. Gonna get back to the planet. I would also love to hear what you guys do. Like, what kind of profession are you guys in? Are you guys in school? Are you some 12-year-old in your mom's basement? Like, anything goes. What do you guys do? What is your life? What's happening out there? Anyone working in the industry? Like in working with games, working with films, working with other kind of entertainment, or working with something really cool? Like, let me know. It's awesome to hear. What or just hobbyists? That's also totally awesome. Okay, moving on with this planet here. I think the surface is done. We're gonna move on to the next one, which is the next step, which is gonna be the atmosphere. We're gonna be doing that with another UV sphere and with the same stuff here. Yeah, that sounds great. I'm gonna put that on top there. Oh, selection to world origin. There we go. And this one's gonna be planet. Actually, it's Tomac. And this one's gonna be Atmos. And Atmos is gonna be a little bit bigger. Bodo. Shade smooth. Like that. And then this one's gonna have a new one. And the thing is gonna be called Atmos. Actually, this one's gonna be called Planet Mat. Oh, it's already called Planet Mat. Nice. Oh, there's a dog barking out there. Year 1 Nomen undergrad. Awesome. How did you know I live in my mom's basement? I could smell it. That's how bad it is. I could smell it through the chat that you are a basement rider. Some of the best people I know live in their mom's basements or have lived in their mom's basement. So no discrimination. Just letting you all know. Really like hard surface. It's just so tedious when trying to do it unorganically. Yes, it is, but my brain's super good at micro greeble compositions. Awesome, Dakota. That's great to hear. I struggle with greeble for the one reason that it's placing a lot of details over time, and my brain wants to make big shape and then move on to the next one. So finding that balance is kind of essential. I have a high output range, so I output a lot of. If I have to make content for something, I can output a lot of, I would say, somewhat decently designed content. But as soon as we have to move into detail, then I start losing my patience and things like that. So that's awesome. Trying to get into the industry, cool. Are you doing school or something? I'm gonna mispronounce your name, Asfandia. Asfand. It's kind of a cool name, Asfandia. Alam. I'm gonna call you Alam. There we go. Trying to get into the industry, awesome. Best of luck. Let me know if you need any advice or something like that. Hobbyist programmer, artist. By the way, I'm saying hobbyist because I suck at both. You suck at both programming and artistry. That doesn't matter. You just keep going. Year 1 Gnomon undergrad. Awesome. I've actually never met anyone from Gnomon. You might be the first that I've heard about from Gnomon, so that's cool. Just graduate animation school. Which animation school? Finding big shapes hard for me. Yes, I mean that's usually the thing. Finding the big shapes is that's the design criteria. Same, just graduated marketing and do Blender as a hobby. Great. I mean, there's probably a use case for, it depends on what kind of marketing you're doing, but if you're making marketing material, then Blender could be useful. But if you're more like marketing strategy stuff, then maybe you could sneak it in there. I think that's the best way to learn, is to figure out your if you want to do something. Okay, so this is a philosophy of life. So we're going to get to the tax evasion stuff later on, but this is a philosophical take on how to learn anything. I really want to, we're going to do a stream, so that's going to be stream 5 now. We're going to talk about how to learn faster, because that's like that's my top 10 topics to talk about. It's just how to learn faster and how to learn, like how to quality learn stuff. Anyways, so this thing about, I lost the thread, sorry. Something using Blender as a hobby, marketing. Yes, so if you want to learn something but you have a job that's not really related to that thing you want to learn at all, look for that weird connection, the thing in between that could be. Let's say you're doing marketing and you're doing Blender. Like, even if you're doing like strategic marketing, then maybe you're doing a presentation, sneak in a Blender shape or whatever into your presentation. Maybe you're doing actual assets, figure out a way, even if it's cumbersome and if it just takes that little bit longer to make it happen using Blender rather than using Photoshop or InDesign or whatever you might be using. Sneak in Blender if you want to learn that thing. Because if you do that, you're more likely, especially when let's say the two subjects don't really mix, right? You have like the marketing thing, you're like, this should be doing InDesign or whatever. And then you have your Blender thing and you try to sneak that into your job somehow, even if it costs you a little bit of extra time. Because you're more likely to end up somewhere unique, because you're going to be forcing these things that don't really want to come together. And if you crack the nut right there in the middle, you're going to have something that few other people have, because that's not the traditional combination of skills, which makes you unique. And I think that's the key to success, is like having something unique that's also valuable. I mean, if it's not valuable, but typically when these two things come together that don't want to be together, and create something that's new and unique. And if it's just remotely valuable, then somebody's gonna find it more valuable just because it's unique. So I think that's my rule for life. If I have to do something, I'll try to sneak in as many other skills as I also want to learn and combine those things. So yeah, so that's that's a tip. But I would love to do like a 2 hour stream on just like learning. That'd be so good. Um, so what's happening here? Not finding big shapes. Same, just graduated marketing and do. Did you study in a university? Did I study in a university? Yes, I studied at a place called the Animation Workshop. It was a 3-year education. I didn't do any animation. The name just suggests that, but it was like computer graphics arts. You said it right, but I don't know. You said okay. I don't know which one I said. I said it 17 different ways. So I'm sorry. Really, there's a lot of us of no. I know there's a lot of Noman people, but it's I guess mostly Americans. Maybe there's also some international students. I don't know. I just never met a person from Noman. But also, my life is my room, so I'm not seeing a lot of Noman students in my room right now. So it's gonna be hard for me to meet them there. I should go out. I'm finishing my master's degree and I teach environment design. Oh, that's dope. That's cool. So I'm finishing up, beefing up my portfolio with quality work. That's great. That's awesome. I just passed my general contractor's test for construction, but really enjoyed 3D. Awesome. Again, also, if you can make 3D become part of your construction work, I don't know how, but like there's probably a way. You know more about the whole, construction phase. I mean, 100% you can use 3D somehow, but even if it's, let's say, a more creative tool like Blender versus a more engineering tool like I guess Rhino is for architects or stuff like that. I don't know, you know what I mean, like SolidWorks and these things, then figure out a way to combine it, even if it doesn't make perfect sense, but maybe there's a niche there where that somebody else hasn't seen. Don't be afraid to combine them. I stayed this far for the content, but now I can't wait for the tax evasion. I mean, the tax evasion tips are common, but I'm trying to make them up as I go. I have to come up with something clever. I want to be a concept artist, but it looks like it'll be a generalist. Okay, listen. Generalist is the best thing you can be. No bull. Like, it's concept art is great and cool and blah 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 blah. But and I also wanted to be a concept art for a long time, but I practiced to be a generalist, and then I went into concept art, and I just concept art is cool. You get to draw and stuff, but I like doing a bunch of things. I like rigging sometimes. I like making a character all the way. I like mixing it up. Don't underestimate being a generalist. It can be so much fun, and you have so much more freedom and ability to move around and try different stuff and explore. And I think exploring what you want to do, that's great. I mean, this planet is just hanging in the air, but we'll get back to it. Looks like you're... Wait, what? I work at Oh, you work at Sideshow Collectibles, and that's kind of what I'm doing right now to work myself into production. I mean, what are you doing at Sideshow Collectibles? That's awesome. Are you doing like sculpting and stuff, or? That's cool. That's awesome. I mean, that sounds kind of. You know what's cool? Don't underestimate this. Like working on something physical. When you're just working in a digital realm, working on something physical, you just feel so much more connected to the fact that somebody's going to be enjoying this thing. When you're a concept artist, you're so early in the process that you'll never really get to feel somebody enjoying what you made, because nothing you made directly will be viewed by someone else. Like, sure, maybe there's lots of ideas and visual things and whatever, but usually it's, I think, an environment artist or some kind of 3D artist or something who will make the actual final thing that somebody sees. So that distance is a little bit there. It's still really cool if you come up with a character or something that ends up in the game, but it can take years, stuff like that. The great tip for sure, having 3D graphics in the PowerPoint presentation for the marketing project would be great. Yes, I'd watch pure philosophy content. I would too. Pharmacy student, and I always try to create medical. That's awesome. Yeah, that's exactly. There's some in your channel, like you have some of the like medical animations in your, and you think that's cool. You should. That's dope. Plasticity is the new king for concept art. Plasticity is it's a cool tool. It's the one tool that I've kind of been considering maybe checking out beyond Blender. But Plasticity is great for doing hard surface things because it works fundamentally different than what you get. I presented a customer with several background designs layers that were made really rough in Blender. Awesome. Generalist, I always need exactly generalist. The most OP people I know. Lol, nah, I do physical repairs on returns. Oh, but you get to work with something physical. Don't underestimate that kind of stuff. You're gonna like approach what you want to do, Dakota, 100%. Like go that direction. But I remember this concept artist called Roberto Castro. No. Yeah, Roberto Castro, that's his name. And he, I think he did stuff for like Thor the Dark World and all kinds of things. And he used to be an architect, but then he also became a concept artist. And I remember he was kind of like, yeah, sometimes I missed, just doing pure architecture. Even though as a concept artist you can invent whatever, but that thing of being tied to reality, you can miss that sometimes. So that's good. I'm gonna get back to this planet now because it's ridiculous. It says it should be planets. That's what people expect. So it's gonna be planets. Okay, volume, principal volume. That's what we need here. And then we're gonna have we're gonna go into cycles now. That's what's happening. Cycles. Turn on the GPU. Denoise. There we go. And then we're gonna bring in a light source, sun. There we go. I'm gonna set this to maybe 10. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, cool. So we got that there. So we want to create a little bit of a fade there. So something's already happening naturally just because of the thickness there, but we want it to be a little bit more rapid. So let's say gradient, texture, and then spherical. Atmosphere. Let's see here. Any rotation, scale there. What's happening there? Okay. Object. There we are. Then let's connect this to a value. Then let's try this here. Ramp. So here we can get a little bit of that fall off. Yeah, we're just getting the slightest fall off there. Pretty good. Then we gotta find the right kind of atmosphere color. And I'm thinking something kind of like, maybe it should be in the greens. How does that feel? Atmosphere is definitely a little bit too big right now. Gonna bring it in. Gonna also just have a multiplier for the atmosphere. Math. No, come on. Multiply. Multiply. There we go. Okay. It's great, honestly. Everyone in the chat, everyone watching the stream, it's what happened to the planet? Did I do? Oh my god, was it the changes that I'm... You know what happened? Oh my god, this is terrible. Exactly. Rip. And it's because that's... No, it's still like... What the hell happened? Am I an idiot? Because the changes are still there. Or has it changed slightly? What? What happened? The line is back exact. Wait, what? Why is the line back? No, I was just loving it. Damn it. What the hell happened? Is something... And it's not because we did paint and stuff, that's all there. But maybe some of the paint actually did get lost. I think that's what happened. I think it's what happens sometimes. It's like if you don't save the file that you've worked on in Blender, or like do like this or something, then it might delete things. And I think maybe some of the stuff that we painted, it's not represented there. Damn it. Let's just go back. Wait. No. Okay. Legit. It's different in Cycles and in Eevee. What? Why is it different in Cycles and Eevee? Am I... Okay, I'm gonna save this file. Australia has been saved. Save everything and restart. Maybe there's a... Now it's fine. Okay, I just saved the image file. Something was happening there. I think that was it. It was just the image file that needs to be saved. For some reason, Cycles wasn't picking up with that. Okay, everything is fine. It was just, you know... Whew, that was a scare. It just feels like an hour of wasted work. But then that's also okay. You know, I used to be the kind of person when I used to do like classical drawing, and then I would spend a whole day like drawing things, and then I would just take everything and then throw it into the garbage. Not because it was all trash, but I think being really selective with what you save and what you don't save, it can be kind of healthy. Because sometimes I definitely have that like hoarder mentality where I'm like, oh, I could save everything, but I gotta train myself to not, because I have the gene to be a hoarder, I think. So I need to take these steps throughout life to be like, no, I don't need that. But I will save all kinds of crap. It's very healthy doing different kinds of jobs. I think I've done lots of different kinds of stuff, and I really, really thoroughly enjoy it. I really enjoy doing different kinds of stuff. For 3 months, like in 2020, I was basically just like doing, and this was after I was like I was a full-time concept artist, and then I kind of took 3 months where I helped my brother and my dad build a live streaming studio. It's a long ass story, but that was just like labor. And I was constructing these like sound panels for the walls, and honestly, that was like one of the best things ever, was just getting to do physical labor and doing something completely different, messing with wires, figuring out how to CLM is moving. Thanks for joining the stream, man. Hope to see you in the future. All the love. Ciao. Yeah, it's like, and I think, you know, so just if anyone has a job that out there that like, I don't really like my job right now, then and you want to move on, then I get that you should pursue your dreams, but it can be really healthy to mix up your things. I have a lifestyle right now where I get to do a lot of different things, and I'm super blessed to be able to do lots of different things, more so than just being able to do exactly what I want to do. But I get to try a lot of things, and I can really feel on friends that they're like, it'd be great if I had time to just do something completely different than my job right now. So I can recommend, try some different stuff. It's okay. Okay, this is cool. I'm gonna give the planet some roughness variation and some bump stuff. So we're gonna take, let's see what we got here. Yeah, let's just take directly from this one. Ramp. We do it the easy way. Oh, maybe it just works. Nope, it doesn't. Let's try just going up a little bit here. So that is pretty dang bright. We need some variation on that. So we're gonna bring that down. Gonna make it go into. It's gonna be bump, I think. We could technically it's better to get into displacement. It just looks a little bit nicer. But let's just try not strength and height, please. Thank you. Yeah, perfect. Done. Nope. Gonna bring this down to a 0.05 maybe. Then just like look around here. What are we getting there? Maybe turn the specularity down a little bit. And right here I'm just looking at what looks good. And I'm definitely not something like that maybe. Yeah, that's not too shabby. Yeah, then you get like a little bit of that kind of stuff there. That looks great. Is that what the planet should feel like though? Yeah, that feels cool there. Got a little bit of variation there. Some stuff like that. Yep. Could also give this a volume scatter instead. What are people writing? Let's see here. Not to be annoying, but oh, okay, wait. Volume scatter, because sometimes volume scatter will give you a little bit of a different quality. No, we'll go back to this, that's fine. Go back to that. Cool. Let's make this background a little bit darker. There. Yeah, that's not too bad. I can move this around here like this. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, now it's time for doing the clouds. So we're actually gonna duplicate the atmosphere. And the way I like doing clouds is that I like taking a sphere, and then here's the magic sauce. You put on a solidify modifier, and then you get this thin little layer, like clouds. And you get this like sliver, and then in there, that's where the clouds they sit. And then essentially they are also gonna be a volume thing. So we're gonna go to here, duplicate this and call them clouds, like so. And then let's do noise, texture, like that. I'm just gonna roughness, there. Then I like giving it a little bit distortion, like that. It's always better if you can use like an actual cloud map, but if you don't have anything, then this is also good. Then we do something along those lines there. Let's see what we can get here. There, that seems pretty good. A little bit of distortion there. That seems pretty good. Yep. Yeah, something like that. That kind of works as clouds. Oh, I can see that working as clouds. Yep. So we're gonna take that and gonna multiply the. Yeah, let's just multiply the density with this. That's fine. That. And then we are gonna have not that, but only this there. So we're starting to see some clouds maybe, so I'll just amp the density up a little bit here. 5. There they are. Appearing. They are, okay. There we go. Just need to scale down a little bit. There we start having some of these clouds. Which is exactly what I want. And for some reason they always appear a little bit too dark, I think. But you can fix that in various ways. I feel like the anisotropy can help that along the way a bit, but that's too much. Okay, so that's maybe a little bit too heavy. Kind of like that. Maybe the cloud should even be a little bit more of a yellowy tinge there. Let's just reset this planet here, like that. We've got the clouds. Let's try rotating them around the planet here. Yeah, we got something like that going on. This is not too shabby. I kind of like this angle here. That looks kind of cool. And then got the clouds. Maybe we can adjust the sun a little bit. Is it what kind of a lit planet is it? So we gotta figure out the kind of atmosphere that it has. Yeah, I feel like this is our planet somewhat. Let's see if it's not really throwing the shadows on it that I would like, so I'm just gonna decrease the width here a little bit. Let's see. What's the questions here? What's going on now in chat? Dakota. Which is the cooler alien planet? Darwin 4, Wayne Barlow Expedition, Alien Covenant, Planet LV, or Avatar Pandora. Which one is Darwin 4? Oh, is that the one in Covenant? Oh, Darwin 4 is the one in that Alien special. The one with the creatures where they have those the combined legs and stuff, and I think they meet like a kind of sentient, weird, floaty alien in the end or something. Darwin 4, yeah, right. And they had these, right. That's, I remember the documentary, and then I learned later that it was actually like a book and stuff. So what do you think? What's cooler? I think Darwin 4, it's great that they are exploring the creatures that much. I think they're, in my mind, they're a little bit unbelievable. Not that it couldn't be that way, but they're a little bit almost too alien. I know that sounds weird, but they're just like, it's like they're trying too much to be like, look how different it is, without it actually being that different. Like the creatures are kind of all like a variation of something we have, like very much a creature. It's not really, what I would love to see is a life form that's just very different. I do think the really tall ones that are kind of walking, but they also, their shapes are like, why are they like this? It doesn't seem any obvious reason for them to have that shape. So Darwin 4, Alien Covenant planet. I mean, on the Alien Covenant planet, we're not really seeing anything beyond the... Wait, Alien Covenant planet? Alien Covenant. Are you referring to the film Covenant, or like the Covenant in Halo? Planet LV. Planet LV. What the? Wait. No. Okay, so that's Alien. Yeah. Okay. LV something. Yeah, we don't get to see that much of those planets. So I don't feel like it's a. Pandora and Darwin 4 is almost like a more fair comparison. I really appreciate what they did with Pandora in Avatar. It's a little bit too much like Earth, you know. It's like, oh, we got the rhino, we got the things, but then obviously the Na'vi can connect with all the stuff, which is a interesting, cool feature or whatever. But it's also really like a planet that's built to serve a specific narrative and function in the film. We're going to be making like one planet. We still have to do the tax evasion tips. Maybe we'll go 20 minutes over stream time or something just for the lolsies. Yeah, Pandora. Has everyone seen Way of Water, like to the new Avatar thing? Or actually, this is not really a spoiler. This it's also in the trailers. But in any case, if you don't want to know anything, here's a minor spoiler. It's nothing about the story. It's just something about the other Na'vi tribe, right? So in Avatar: The Way of Water, I'll show this actually. This is a pet peeve I have, especially if you care about creature design. Then this is just anatomically nonsensical. So we all agree that the Na'vi are basically humans with cat ears and tails, and then a little bit larger, right? Like to have the kind of look that they do and the kind of movement they do, they need to have, let's say, basically human anatomy. Right, it's they're not some kind of weird lizard person. Something. It's basically human anatomy. The joints flex the same way, except for the lack of digits. Then everything is pretty much the same. So I want to show you something. Humans, the fastest human swimmers. So let's see. I'm gonna say human sprint swimming. What do you call that? Human. let's see here. How does that work? Wait. Just need to make this mute. Yeah, okay. Here we go. So I just need to make it shut up. And so when they, I hope everyone can see, but they're going to be jumping in the water, and then they're going to be doing basically like a dolphin swim, like that, right? So they're going up and down. Their spine is moving like this, right? The spine is not moving sideways. So that's an important difference, and that's because humans are mammals, right? So that we're like dolphins and whales more than we're like sharks, and dolphins are not like sharks, right? Dolphins are more like humans because mammals, etc. So dolphins go like this, sharks go like this, and reptile stuff, they go side to side sway. But mammals, all mammals' spines are like this. And it doesn't mean we can't go side to side, but the way our muscles and the skeletal structures laid out is that this kind of motion is the more optimal motion to get that kind of flow. Nowhere does it make sense for humans to swim any other way, and that's why the Avatar way of water swimming. Let's see if we can find. So you'll see there's this other tribe. So these are the other Na'vi tribe, and they swim. They swim. Come on. They swim like this. They swim side to side. That doesn't cope with the human body. Like that's just, I mean, I know it's a Na'vi body, but it makes no sense. If they have the same anatomical structure, their tail should have made it like go like this. I'm like, it's such a small change, but it would just have fit their body type so much better. And it's I think it's just like a huge, oversight, because otherwise they're spending a lot of energy making everything like really. They're spending a lot of energy on world building, whether you like the kind of world building, that doesn't matter, but they're spending the energy there, and I just feel like somebody made an aesthetic choice where it should have been a design choice, right? The aesthetics was like, it kind of looks a little bit better with the tail like this, but it breaks the logic of the world, and maybe most people don't see it, but I see it, and I'm angry at it now, and now I'm sharing with you guys. So now your job is to go on Reddit and rave about it. That's how it is. Exactly, something was off, and it's because they are they're doing that thing, and the other people, they swim like normal humans, but imagine the actors who've had to swim like side to side like that. That is so weird. And I mean, and yeah, sure, like give them it's kind of because these Na'vi, they have adapted to the water in a different way, right? And they give them these like extra arm things, and that's all fine, but they don't even use them. Like, if at least they've been doing some kind, they're putting them along their body, and then they're just like going side to side. It's so stupid. Like, and the whales that they meet later on or something is from, but they go like whales. It's like, it's just, it makes no sense. And this one goes side to side because it's more like a fish thing. That's fine. It's all good, etc. Right? That swims the way it's supposed to swim. Makes perfect sense, right? Awesome, great. But when these guys are, where can I find it again? Over here somewhere. Where they're swimming. It's so stupid. Like, yeah, you see more of it in the movie, but the water looks great. No, I mean, so many things looks great. The movie is a little bit too much on the saturated side for my personal taste, but I still think it's an incredible achievement. Of course, it's unlike anything else out there, and I think watching Avatar the first time, I think most people can agree, was a very transformative experience. Even if the story was whatever, it was like, wow, you're just in this whole other world and stuff, and it was a great spectacle to see. And I think the second one was also it was a great ride to watch it. It's obviously not a great movie or anything like that, but it was a great experience, you know, like just. So I've gotta give them that. Where did we? I lost my train of thought. What were we talking about? The different planets, right? So yeah, so that's the thing with Pandora. That's my one gripe, and there's some of the creature design that's a little bit like, it's like, yeah, I quite like the flying stuff. I think the flying stuff is cool. I wish, because they do state in the first film that the gravity is lower on Pandora, so technically humans should be able to jump a little bit higher, and I don't know, maybe like density to weight ratio, then maybe actually if a human punched a Navi, that should probably hit, because humans are used to a heavier gravity. So, you know, I feel like there's something that could have been kind of fun to explore there, with humans having maybe relative a little bit more power. Maybe they're more dense, but there's a bit more force behind the strength there. I would like to see that, but yeah, nobody. That would just have been impractical to do, probably. But I think it's interesting to think. So I had this not a discussion, but I was talking to a friend about this thing that I'm really into rockets and stuff, and I'm following all the rocket launches and very curious about what happens in space and all this stuff. And I think you gotta be if you're doing a sci-fi universe and these things. But basically, Earth is kind of annoying in that it's exactly allowing us to escape Earth's gravity. If Earth was just like 10% heavier, it would have been near impossible to escape Earth's atmosphere with current technology for rockets. It would just have been so unfeasible, because the physics would just be against us, and we might not have made those first strides into space. But we're kind of in that like zone where it's just possible and feasible, as I understand it. If Earth had been 10% smaller, it would have been so much easier to deal with gravity and sending out rockets relative to the kind of fuels we have available and these kinds of things. Which means that humans, if they are, let's imagine that there is alien life out there similar to humans, whatever, humans are probably relatively strong because of that ratio. Like if we imagine that other planets out there have a similar issue of like getting into space, then the ones that have a higher gravity, they're less likely to escape Earth, escape their planet. So, which I think is kind of interesting. Really been thinking about that. Think that humans might be quite strong relative to lots of other aliens for that reason, and I think that's kind of interesting to explore. I haven't seen anyone talk about that, but I'm talking about it, so enjoy. Okay, I think it feels like we managed to make one planet. We could put up some lights. That would be kind of cool, like a few little lights. I'll do that actually. What's happening in the Rule of Cool? That water though, could they have done it on purpose for some reason? I think the purpose was aesthetic choice. Like somebody, it's because that's kind of the curse of concept art. You're seeing a visual, you pick that one, and then you don't think about it. If you're not smart or attentive or whatever, then you don't think that like when it moves, it's like, oh, I guess they have to move like this because that's the design. And you're like, maybe we should change the design, or maybe they're just like, no, it should look like this because that's more practical. And it's such a small change. I think it could look equally fine. I think actually it would look better, but whatever. And also for humans, a tail. I mean, yes, they have tails, but for swimming, we have legs, right? Humans have legs, and legs just can't. Okay, so it's sea lions and seals and stuff like this, right? They have their legs develop into the tail instead of the tail. Like so, with whales, the tail has become the main propulsion, but with sea lions and seals, the legs have become the propulsion. They don't have both, right? So for propulsion, it might, collide a lot with the legs. So I feel like it makes sense to choose one or the other, or they could have done a thing where maybe they're using their legs in a different way. But we all know that if you want to go fast in the water, you're doing this with your legs. So maybe that's where they should have spent their energy, maybe making the feet a bit more kind of frog-like. They don't have to go all the way. They've also done some stuff with the shin, kind of like they did with the arm bones, and they kind of maybe had like flatter shin bones or something like that, like going out to adjust for that. That could also look kind of cool and different. And then maybe a shorter tail, or a more just like streamlined aerodynamic tail, maybe something that's breaking up the water, giving less turbulence for the feet. I really care about this thing. I can talk about it forever. But podcast. Oh wait. So they invented an entire functional language, but they got basic anatomy wrong. Yeah, exactly. There's a YouTube channel called Sideways, I think. Sideways. It's a YouTube channel about music, and he did a video on the music of Avatar, and basically like how like they made all this weird ass music that wasn't used because James Cameron was like, we need to make all this really unique alien music that people had never heard before, and they did. And kudos to him for like going that way, and they didn't use basically any of it. Again, they made a lot because it was too weird, right? It didn't lend itself to that emotional impact that the music needed to serve in the film. That just shows how tied we are to stereotypes of music and like how that impacts our experience in terms of like immersing ourselves in a world. Then the music can really play a role, like the alien music, but kind of being background music or leading up to a big war or telling us something emotional. Then it was a hard thing. I think that was the reason. But the song where they're singing around the tree in the first one, that one was one of the songs that made it in. It was one of the lesser alien ones, but it worked out quite well. I need to keep reading here. So they invented an entire I want cookies and a 90-minute cut of Avatar. No, I liked it this long. I'm down for that. I want a longer one. I think both Avatar movies have some of the best, if not the best, graphics in all of movies. Best graphics in all of movies. I think Star Wars Rogue One is maybe one of the best looking films out there. I think it's like composition, color grading, very, very good. Or the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, still like very unparalleled. Like it's unchallenged. I think it's a high. The Game of Thrones show also looks quite good. Like at times it looks quite great, especially for a series. It's like, wow, that's a good looking show. So I gotta ask, what is 3 sci-fi world built for you? For me, can you clarify the question? As in, do you mean what are 3 world builds that I like 3 existing IPs or worlds that I personally like? Is that the question? Then let me know. I thought the gravity was heavier, and that's why the native bones were so strong. No, it's lighter, and usually when the gravity, so hypothesis is that like if there's lower gravity, it's more likely that creatures can get bigger because gravity isn't limited. So gravity has less of an effect. The smaller you are as a creature, the less gravity has an influence on you. But the bigger you get, it's inverse square law, right? So it gets heavier and heavier to get so big, and that's actually why it's amazing that sauropods, like long-necked dinosaurs, that they even could exist on Earth when they did, is amazing. Because we don't have any creatures on Earth at that size on land. Obviously, the blue whale is huge, but it's in water, so it's cheating. It's surprising how many things are exactly set up in our universe, and how if pretty much anything was different, it would end up a big death or big explosion. Yes, that is absolutely true. I need to put chat over here on the right again so I can keep track. podcast Flyvende Tallerken. I guess it's a reference to the fact. So for those of you who don't know, Flyvende Tallerken means flying plate. I guess it just sounds like that the thoughts are flying in all kinds of different directions, and I appreciate that. It's definitely very interesting. I like this. You have complex thoughts on this stuff. We need more of this. It's because I spend a lot of time in my room alone, so I get to think a lot about. No, it's I do a lot of world building, and I think to do it well, you kind of have to, and I've done it for a long time. I think to do it really well and to make unique stuff, you just have to sit down and research and think a lot about stuff and have a good reason for why something is. Not everything, but you have to have a really good reason for why some of the important things in your world are the way they are, because at the end of the day, that's what people are gonna connect with and want to explore. So I have a lot of time to think about this stuff. I know we have a nice study on biology, helps a lot with character science, 100%. Watch all the animal documentaries you can. Just engage with everything. And the best animal documentaries are Walking with Dinosaurs. It's not even real animals. Walking with Dinosaurs. Walking with monsters, and Walking with prehistoric beasts. Those are all great. And then all the I think Our Planet was great. Anything David Attenborough obviously is amazing. Just all of it, eat it up. Prehistoric Planet on Apple. It looks great. It's a great looking show. I'm so happy it's there because dinosaurs. However, it's a little bit too mild. Like, because it's kind of revitalizing the old Walking with Dinosaur stuff, and I think I wish it's a little bit more violent. Like, it was a little bit more brutal, the old one, which I kind of liked. It definitely felt like a cruel world, but I really liked that they focused so much on bringing pterosaurs into the picture in Prehistoric Planet, because we haven't gotten to see pterosaurs that much, and a lot has happened in the world of paleontology since Walking with Dinosaurs, which is 20 plus years now or something ago. Right. I'm writing a sci-fi story at the moment, so this talk is really relevant. That's great. Tron Legacy, I feel like, had a really good visual design. Actually, Harry Potter had some pretty good compositing. At times, the Harry Potter films could look quite good. Actually, overall, really good achievement. I mean, the Harry Potter music is John Williams, so obviously that's high quality. Tron Legacy, I feel like, had a really good visual design. I mean, it's not my thing. It's a little bit too glowy, but for what it's trying to do, it's actually kind of interesting. Like, what sci-fi titles are the cornerstone of the genre for you? Okay, so with sci-fi, let's divide it into two things. So there is kind of more hardcore sci-fi. Actually, let's say hardcore sci-fi, and sci-fi fantasy. So Star Wars is very much sci-fi fantasy, right? It might as well be fantasy. There's no rules for anything. Sci-fi is kind of stuff that's definitely exploring a future world and future problems more. So something like Star Trek, I would say, is classic sci-fi. It's exploring futurist problems, futurist thoughts, lots of philosophy, talking a little bit about technology here and there, but there's also a bunch of magic, and they're not really, leaning into it that much. Then you got something like The Expanse. I recommend The Expanse. The Expanse is a pretty good series. I really like that series. I think it's on Prime, so Amazon Prime now. It used to be somewhere else, but that's where it is now. And that's a little bit more like, even more leaning into hardcore sci-fi. It does get, it changes up a little bit, but it's a sci-fi show. And then there are other things like The Martian, for example, which is very much hardcore, like science fiction, but it's also like near future stuff. So it's almost not sci-fi. It's almost just more contemporary, but it's still sci-fi for sure. But so those are the different categories, and I would say vastly different things. But just overall in the sci-fi genre, so I'm including all those things. Then I think the thing with Star Wars for me is that it's always had the potential to have amazing stories told within it, but it never really got that, I think, until is that fair? Almost until like the Clone Wars animated series. Like I think there was some stuff in the Clone Wars. It was still for kids, but I feel like they were really exploring what Star Wars could. I mean, apart from the games, like Knights of the Republic and stuff was cool, but the kinds of stories I was looking for was showing up in Clone Wars. I was never too much into the old trilogies. I still think they're great, but the original trilogies, I just think they're so much like the hero's journey that it's almost puke-worthy. It's just a little bit too direct. Now they're still classics and still great, but my taste personally, then I actually preferred the kind of stories that were told in the prequels, like Phantom Menace, Clone Wars, and Revenge of the Sith. Just I kind of liked when they involved like a little bit of politics, and starting off the Phantom Menace with there's a trade blockade or by the trade union. I'm like, oh, what the hell is happening here? And lots of people are like, whoa, politics, I don't want to hear about that. But I quite liked it, and I wish there had been more of that. I just think that, George Lucas is a great visionary, but not necessarily a great storyteller. I think under the surface, the story is actually kind of awesome. I really, really, really like. Okay, so the story of the prequels, like how Palpatine came to power. Control S, Control Save. Yeah, I lose things all the time. Let's go to Horizon over here somewhere. Thank you. So, how Palpatine came to power, right? So he basically, with the help of Count Dooku and stuff, started a separatist kind of movement in some of the outer systems against the Galactic Republic and the Senate and stuff, where Palpatine had snuck himself into, right? He's kind of becoming a senator there, and then eventually being elected Grand Chancellor. But what he did was he started a separatist movement, and then he got into power with some slight manipulation, and then he made the separatists go to war with the Galactic Republic just so they could give him the supreme emergency power, where he had full control as supreme leader over the military, and then he could do whatever he want. I kind of just really like the idea of starting a war with yourself just to get this specific legal power, so then you can mess with everyone else. I'm like, that's kind of baller. So I have a lot of respect for Star Wars. I think aesthetically Star Wars is maybe one of the things that Plagueis and Palpatine did the thing together, but that would just makes the story more complicated. The point of the story is that like they're gonna do this thing where the end goal is to, clash forces with yourself, and then etc. Right. That's the point. Like the beauty of that, I think, is like the logic of that is what's awesome. But it's fair calling me out. It's totally fair. Don't hesitate. So I kind of respect Star Wars for that. But the aesthetics of Star Wars have always been incredibly strong. I think they have some of the strongest design language in all of fiction, to be frank. And they're pretty good at maintaining that quality. So Star Wars is a cornerstone, I think. What is another cornerstone of the sci-fi genre? I really respect Dune, like the books, like and what, and I never read any of them, but I just looked at so much of the content from the world, and I think the what that world is trying to communicate is super interesting. There's something about Dune that feels really different. I've been enjoying watching the Foundation series on Apple. It's not amazing, but it's a good watch. It has some interesting stuff for sure, and I'm kind of enjoying that. I wouldn't say it's a cornerstone or anything in that sense. I think Mass Effect was pretty cool. I was never a Halo person. I definitely respect Halo. Halo's a little bit too. Halo feels a little bit too much like somebody made Halo, because the style in Halo is so let's say executed. Like throughout the entire world of Halo, I feel like one person was kind of in charge of making everything look exactly designed and perfect, and it breaks the immersion a little bit for me with Halo. Yeah, where something like Mass Effect to me feels a little bit more real, even if it's stylistically it's not as like dead on as that. But I think Mass Effect is quite interesting. I really like The Expanse. I think Expanse influenced me a lot. Just like watching that, I think there was so many things, it felt fresh. It was a fresh sci-fi. It's a longer question. I kind of want to read some of it, but I think that's. But Alien, I really like Alien too. Alien's a very different aspect of sci-fi, because it started as kind of the horror aspect of sci-fi, and then it. One of my favorite sci-fi films is probably Arrival, as like a really pure sci-fi film. I love Arrival so much, and it's a very different way of communicating with the other. Like so in Alien, the way they communicate with the other is very much terrifying, black and horrific, right? But in Arrival, it's that'll be my answer for the stuff here. What's happening here? So does this mean Skull Island has low gravity? I guess. If that's the case, I'm looking forward to the stream where you tell us your thoughts on Tolkien's work. I mean, we should talk about Tolkien, and then we'll do a Tolkien comparison to George R. R. Martin. That'd be great. I recommend watching some George R. R. Martin interviews. I think it's really fun to hear how he explores his world and figures stuff out. Mostly it's just ripping off history, but it's still great. So, case I'm looking forward to the stream where you tell us blah, blah, blah. Totally agree, but BBC was blah, blah, blah. What do you think Foundation would be then? Right, so I mentioned Foundation is kind of like I would say like sci-fi leaning, sci-fi. Yeah, sci-fi. It's definitely dealing with futurist issues, but it has destiny and things and psychohistory and things, which is a little bit, it's sci-fi. So to call you right, that was the thing, and that's totally fair. You can call me out. That's great. The pace of Palpatine, the design is recognizable, even though Disney didn't go fit perfectly. It kind of still works. Rogue One, Andor. If you haven't seen Andor, when you heard like Andor, like I don't want to watch Andor, then you watch it and you realize it's the best Star Wars show ever made. Better than Mandalorian. I don't give a shit. It's the best. It's the best one, and they're only gonna do 2 seasons because they're taking the time to make it good. And Andor is like kind of like if Star Wars was Game of Thrones, which is all I want. It's just for Star Wars to be Game of. That's the kind of story that I would love. That's also kind of where Black Horizon exists. That's what I'm imagining the bridge will be like. Star Wars with Game of Thrones. You can call it that. Is Dune worth a read? I think so. It's Dune is weird, right? But it's Arrival is amazing. Any thoughts on sci-fi and anime? I think there's a lot of interesting stuff. There's a lot of interesting stuff with sci-fi and anime. I haven't watched that much stuff with anime, the only thing I've really given the time to watch is Neon Genesis, like Evangelion stuff, and maybe something else. I don't recall. I think that's what I have. This Dune audiobook has different voice actors for each character, so it's definitely worth a listen. That's awesome. Have you ever heard the theory that Middle Earth is actually about Europe during an ice age? Compare map Doggerland to Middle Earth. I think I've heard that theory. Also, I suggest you look up Ireland and then the map for Westeros. It's basically just one of the parts is just Ireland flipped upside down. So Ireland kind of has these little cliffy fingers. Those cliffy fingers are exactly the cliffy fingers in the Erie in Westeros, because literally George R. Martin took the map of Ireland and just flipped it upside down and then put some other stuff there, and he was like, yeah, nobody will notice. I've never got into Destiny. Destiny for me is too fantasy. I would rather just have fantasy. Like they have some really cool aesthetic choices in Destiny that I thought were really, really fresh, especially in some of the later stuff. But it's also, I kind of have this thing where, that's the line from The Incredibles. If everyone's super, that's the same thing as saying no one is. And Destiny kind of has this vibe that everyone is super. I guess I feel like everyone looks super, which makes it feel like no one is. That's kind of my gripe with stuff like Destiny or League of Legends or things like that. I think things are special because they are different from other things. An important lesson for concept artists out there, because it's a habit for concept artists to just make everything cool, and art directors and stuff, and it makes stuff look worse. When everything is cool, nothing is, I think. So you're into anime, of course. Who isn't these days? I think it's a law now. If you're awake, you're into anime. Exactly one day, when I'm a famous whatever person, they'll be looking at this and saying it's basically just Australia, and there's video evidence to confirm it. So he's basically a big loser who steals and complains about George R. Martin stealing his maps and stuff like that. So yeah, where the hell what was this tangent? We just went wild with the tangent. There's something about sci-fi. I thought there were some other questions. No, okay, yeah, no, I mean, maybe we're good. Oh my god, it's 10:15. Oh, it's not even that late. I'm totally down for continuing, but I feel like we need to end it at some point, right? And I feel like we came to an interesting point. We made a planet, and maybe that was ambitious to try to make two, and I wanted to make lights on the planet. That's what it was. Oh yeah. I need to have a timer. Yeah, but I've never played Destiny, because I was watching some guy talk about Destiny. He's like, what did he said? I thought it was so funny. He's like, you can also play Destiny, but Destiny is not a game, it's a job. I'm like, okay, that's hilarious. I'm not gonna play Destiny. No, don't, please distract me. It's all good. Like, it's all good. It's I want to get better at controlling the flow of the stream, but I feel like I'm being controlled by chat way more. But I also want to do a good show. No, I don't need sleep. That just feels offensive. Wait, you wrote something before. Okay, I don't know. No, that's not my problem. Is not sleep. I'll probably sleep at 2 o'clock in the night or something. I want to create an environment where I don't drink coffee. There you go. That's sleep is for the week. It's just mega warm in here. That's why. So I'm gonna turn on the fan again. Oh yeah. This fan. Look, you want to see the fan? Look at that. Look at this fan. It's I think I could fly a plane with this fan. You know. a very small plane on the ground going 5 miles an hour. Oh, and yeah, I am from Denmark. Denmark. Tea. I do drink tea. Once in a while, but the weather is still a bit too. I actually had a cup of tea today, but isn't it with the coffee that it only works if you drink coffee? As in, when you first start drinking coffee, it's gonna give you a deficit. No, it's gonna give you a boost, but then it's gonna give you a deficit equal to the boost at some other point in time, equal to the boost that you would have gotten otherwise. So you kind of just even out, but then you're gonna be in a loss. Like you're gonna be at a lower point than you were before you started doing coffee. But then now giving you coffee will give you that boost to get you back up to normal. And the thing is that the coffee doesn't boost you above normal, but it gives you that noticeable quick increase from the low, and that noticeable increase from the low feels better in the brain, and you feel like you have more energy. So it doesn't give you more energy, it unlocks something in your brain where you feel like you can do more because you felt like getting that energy. That's how I was explained to it by someone, and I think it's really fascinating. That's so interesting that you can kind of. But I don't drink coffee, so I don't know. It could be complete bullshit what I'm saying. But coffee is good. But if you start taking it too early, you're gonna hate yourself in 10 years. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Caffeine is interesting. Yeah, it's caffeine. But who cares? In 10 years, they'll probably have made something better than coffee. Better than coffee. What would they have made? Tax evasion tips. It's time. We have to do tax evasion tips before we end the stream. That's the big thing. That's what everyone has been waiting for, is the tax evasion tips, and that's going to be the final thing for the stream, right? And we end on the tax evasion tips. So first of all, if you don't know, the first stream, we ended up talking about tax evasion tips, and we're just going to make it a thing. We're going to be talking about tax evasion tips. Okay, tax evasion tips. Are we going to start getting serious about the tax evasion tips? Okay, this is not a tax evasion tip, but it's a tax postponing tip, right? Maybe this only works in Denmark. I have no clue how it works. It depends on different stuff. But because Denmark, that's the country where I know how to do the taxes. Okay, so I have a company. I have a one-man company in Denmark, and that's fine. That means that I have to pay my own taxes. If you receive a salary, right, in Denmark, then usually the taxes has already been deducted from the salary, so you just get the money that you can use, and the taxes was withdrawn from the company directly to the government, right? But I have to earn all the money and then pay the taxes myself. When you do that, you don't technically have to pay the taxes every month. The way it works is that you register for the year, so you kind of do like a yearly tally. It's called the year plan, whatever thing. And then you do that, and to get everything that you earned within that year, you don't have to submit that plan until half a year later. So if I'm doing my taxes for 2020, let's say 2020, then I don't have to register the whole thing until July 2021. So half a year after the year is over, that's when I have to register the final output for the year 2020, and I technically don't have to pay my taxes until 2021, July 2021. So you can earn money in January of 2020, and then you don't have to pay your taxes until 2021 July, which means that you can technically spend the money you had earned with tax if you know that you're gonna make the money back. You definitely shouldn't, but I have done it. Then you can do it. So it's not tax evasion tips, it's just tax manipulation tips, and you're playing with fire, you definitely should save up the money that you have, and then you should just pay it monthly. You can also just pay it monthly, and then it'll add up in the end, and then you'll pay the difference in the end. But you can manipulate exactly what money. If you're like, oh, I really want that PlayStation now, it's like, yeah, but there's a tax money. You're like, yeah, but I'm probably gonna get a job next month, some client work, so it'll be fine. You know, so not tax evasion tip, but tax. I think that's how I'm gonna deal with this subject. Is that the topic is gonna be tax evasion tips, but the tip is never gonna be actual tax evasion. It's just gonna be something slightly related. Keeping the juicy stuff for the final live stream. I don't know. Like, I'll have to come up with a really good one. Tax evasion. Like, no, we'll figure it out. In the States, you can have a sub corporation that doesn't pay taxes, but if you take a salary, then the salary is taxed. Yeah, I mean, you can also do that in Denmark, where you have a company, but then there's a specific company tax, which is lower, and then you can pay yourself a salary, and then you pay tax off that salary. But I just have a one-man company, which means that managerially it's incredibly simple. But I probably have to so I'm working on a game right now, which probably some of you know. When I release that thing, I will have to upgrade my company probably, just to deal with the finances in a different way. If I'm making money on the game, then I'm gonna modify the way that my company works so that everything happens through salary, because right now it's just anything I earn, like, and that. So it's pretty simple. Okay, I feel like that we managed to make one planet that was better than last stream. This was more concentrated, but we did have some really interesting discussions, some great ideas for future streams, and lots of things still in this thing here. That's why I do construction, and it pays my rent, auto, phone, all perfectly legal. You know, the luxury of having an actual job instead of this hijacking that I'm doing, where I'm just doing a bunch of random stuff. But this stream, I feel like we managed to do something with the stream this time. It was a little bit even more engagement than last time, so that's great. A little bit more to the point. Great questions, love the questions. Thank you, chat. Thank you for everyone who joined. Hopefully you will join again in the future. And I think this thing of like putting a theme in the title for the live stream, I think that works well. Kind of saying like we're gonna be doing planets, and the next time we'll be doing characters, and then maybe we'll do one. We'll say discussing Tolkien versus George R. R. Martin or something like that. That could be super fun. Or like Lord of the Rings versus Game of Thrones, or whatever you want. A Song of Ice and Fire. We should do that stuff. Maybe want to increase. Lots of ideas. We'll get there. But for now, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for joining, and see you in the future.